Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Xoaquin Flores is with us. This is our second take of the second recording. Welcome back, Xoaquin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. No one needed to know that, but all right, we are good, you know.
No, they need to know. They need to know. It's a comedy show. Nothing we do here is serious or has anything to do with reality. So why not tell the people how it really is? How have you been since our last recording, which was literally like 17 minutes ago?
I'm nourished. Yeah, my wife made this excellent pot roast and dug in. It's fantastic. Tenderized, beef just hits the spot. Delicious.
Excellent. Today's topic is this team. McDonald's eating, airplane flying, New World Order fighting, New World Order people. Let's name it like that for now. This is a comedy show after all. Shall we get into the DOJ and Biden prep?
Yeah.
Let's do that first, eh? Let's see if this is rewound. It is. The volume is ready.
Sense of alarm is building among officials at the Justice Department and the FBI who are bracing for possible revenge prosecutions from the incoming Trump administration. NBC News reports that some civil servants who work on a government salary have proactively reached out to lawyers. That's according to 3 people with knowledge of their deliberations. They're worried about the effect of long and costly legal.
If it was proactive, then they can't be bad guys, can they? Like only
that's Rock right there, like turning down in a way, like to the right of Trump or on Trump's, on our right. I think that's Kid Rock.
It could be.
Battles. Joining me here in studio, NBC News senior executive editor for national security, David Rode, who reported this story. Also with us, Glenn Kirshner, a former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst. It's good to have you here, David. A lot of DOJ.
Their tans suggest they just came back from the Caribbean.
Staffers we had been hearing and you had been reporting were saying there was some nervousness about what might happen, about, frankly, what has been said about the plans for going after people who they felt unfairly went after them.
This lady looks like
but
she's
how has the choice of Matt Gaetz
like 3 eyes or 4 sets of eyes? Like I don't know what the hell is going on with her, but yeah, all right.
They live is what's going on. In any case.
Changed the equation, or has it?
It has, and that's the difference. There was worry about congressional investigations. They expected that, but the choice of Gaetz, which was, I think, a real surprise to many people inside the DOJ, signaled everywhere, yes, that he's a lawyer, but he's had no experience prosecuting cases. But most of all, he is a firebrand loyalist, a very vocal supporter of President Trump, and it's seen by people as a choice. It's someone who Trump trusts. And someone who, given the ethics investigation, sort of owes Trump. Trump is sort of protecting him by giving him this new job just before the ethics report comes out. So it has raised fears that there could actually be criminal investigations and prosecutions by the Trump administration of career DOJ.
Go on.
Well, we have 2 experiences, right? We have from 2016 to 2020, we've got like 2020 to 2024, right? So you have a Trump administration and then you have a Biden administration. And one of these 2 administrations, I don't know if we're having a technical difficulty. Anyway, one of these 2 administrations persecuted or prosecuted their political opponents, and the other one was Trump's administration. So that's all you really need to know. The guy was already in office for 4 years and he didn't prosecute or persecute his political opponents. The whole time what we've had the last 4 years has been an ongoing witch hunt against Trump, his lawyers, anyone associated with him. You've got criminal charges, civil cases. You've had multiple impeachments towards the end of his presidency. I mean, the whole thing is like nuts. The J6 thing. Everything is one big hoax, one big lie. And it's been the Biden Justice Department and others like, Letitia James and people in New York and, there's in Georgia, coordinating most likely with the Biden administration. And the Attorney General has been cross-examined about that as well. I mean, this is like something
I've got that clip queued actually.
Yeah. Well, that's like what's so crazy. These people are gaslighting us. These people are fucking psychopaths. I mean, it's like
time out. Before
they've been doing for 4 years, and they're acting like all of a sudden like this is what's going to happen to them. I kind of hope it does, but I don't see signs that it will. But I kind of hope it does.
Before we get into Gaetz cross-examining the current AG, do you want to clue people in maybe a bit as to who this Gaetz guy is? And I'm reluctant to call him Gaetz. Is that how it's pronounced? Like, is it Gaetz or Gates?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to call him Bill Gates. You know what I mean?
The German name or whatever, it would be like, yeah. But anyway, it's Gaetz, right? But yeah, you would say like, so he was in Congress and then but he's not now. But there was an ethics investigation that defamed him basically and didn't result in anything that the DOJ, even this very corrupt DOJ led by Garland, would have as grounds to criminally prosecute him. And so recently, even like on The View, on that TV show for, I guess, like people in the 60 to 70, 80 demographic, who still watch TV in the daytime. It's just a weird concept, like, conceptually that's fucking bizarre to me, but those people do exist, and they're watching The View, and they defamed Gaetz. They said, oh, he's been accused and he's basically guilty of these things, heterosexual relations with a girl that wasn't quite 18. So it's kind of like they're very already like, is that even an issue? But yeah, they made that an issue, but they actually said something, that was chargeable, and that they would make them liable in a civil case of defamation. So then Gaetz or his team like sent them a letter, and they were forced to read the notice on TV.
I've got that queued as well. Let's see Gaetz first in taking this guy for a walk. I think that's the best way we can name this clip.
Provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson. Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
The guys trying to filibuster, they always do that. They just describe the like, we're not asking for a fucking description.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them when you provide those communications?
Like arguing with that GPT.
You'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates? No, and you didn't, because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't, because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased, rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
By the way, YouTube, this is not my music. The music comes with a clip. I don't know whose music it is. I hope like this doesn't get this video taken down or some shit. In any case, people who share these things should stop adding music, especially if it's copyrighted. In any case, let's continue with the clip.
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in a another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing.
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again, very clear, you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you settled?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
Owned.
Yes, owned. Yeah, no, he's sharp. He's witty. He's also funny. So, he has. I think.
Where's he from?
Matt Gaetz. I don't know. Somewhere in America, and I think. He's very funny.
Hold on. Let's play The View, and while we play The View, I'll look up where Gaetz is from. Hold on. Let me put this here, and then put this here, and then play.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism, that DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with some more humble pie. He is from Florida, born in Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah. That's That's near Miami, right? It was Hollywood Beach, Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood Beach. That's basically Miami.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got this comedic clip, but that we will save to the end. And now I want to get into some local responses to Trump's election. We got this from Bunt Stanje Duha. The delusional pretender government in the occupied province of Kosovo decided to be ultra pro Trump after being ultra pro Kamala, right as the results came in. How do you think things are going to fare for our delusional tenants? Or they're not even tenants. What are they called? What are they called when squatters? There you go. Yeah. Our squatters, our delusional squatters in the south.
Squatters from the temporary and now illegal provisionals in Pristina. Yeah. Well, look, it changes the metric of the whole bargaining, arrangement, because historically it's been pretty much the Americans following in this model ever since the Bill and Hillary Clinton war on Yugoslavia, which is really happening, around the same time as the beginning of the war in Iraq. So these were geopolitically, these are very descriptive of the geopolitical calamity that was the collapse of the Soviet Union. It was the greatest geopolitical calamity in the 20th century post-war, the greatest post-war geopolitical calamity. From the mid-century period onward, let's say the second half of the 20th century, was the collapse of the Soviet Union. People can debate about the economics and the internal politics and, democracy and questions about the Soviet Union, but from a geopolitical perspective, its collapse or its destruction, implosion, sabotage, whatever your theory is, created a huge disbalance in global power and allowed the United States unilaterally to destroy countries like Iraq and Serbia, Yugoslavia. So the temporary now illegal squatting, right, false mis authorities in Pristina so-called Kosovoans, which is a fictional made-up, ethnicity. I think they actually had an analog to that in Wag the Dog. They're like, what is this people? Like, they're just made up that this people exists, basically, almost very Borat style, And so you have this fictional people called Kosovoans that were invented in the media in the 1990s. And but what this whole metric now introduces is, when Trump was leading the United States from 2017 to 2020, those 4 years, what you actually had was just in terms of the diplomatic position of the United States, like the tensions in this region, like eased significantly. Like everyone living here following, plugged into what's going on, the threats. If you're plugged into Balkans politics, you know that when the uniparty, like the neoliberal, neoconservatives, Clinton, Bush, whoever, right, Biden, when they're in power, their position is anti-Serbian. It's anti-Serbian, right? And I would say that the position of the Trump administration is quite fresh, and it's a very different take. It really harkens back to almost World War I, when the U.S. and Serbia were allied. There's only been 2 other national flags ever flown over the White House out of respect for that country. I think one of them is France. The other one is Serbia. And the United States and Serbia actually have an interesting relationship. I'm not proposing that we should see something very radically pro-Serbian from the Trump administration, but this is the context, is that they'll be very neutral and fair towards Serbia. And then that's balancing against Russia, which is pretty pro-Serbian. So the metric changes from an anti-Serbian balance with a pro-Serbian, and now it's kind of like Serbia neutral balance with pro-Serbian. So the outcome is going to be very good. Having Trump in the U.S. is going to be very good for stability in the Balkans. And you're going to see, at least as a baseline, like between Serbia's looking at their, geopolitical arrangements and agreements and their posture and their, even things that they might arrive at, they're in a much better position, because it's kind of like between, friendly and, maybe a little less friendly, but not hostile. So this is a very good situation for Serbia to have Trump in there. And, people know the history, and people one of the things that people who come to the region are always impressed by is that you can talk to like a taxi driver or a clerk in a grocery store or the post office or the police officer. And, everyone knows, like the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, they all know so many details about the history of the geopolitics and the policies of Clinton and the U.S. on the United States. And so they're very aware that when Trump comes in, that there's this loosening and evaporation almost of the tensions, So as soon as Biden comes into office a couple of years ago, just as I forecasted, you had this huge surge of bellicosity from the temporary illegal Pristina authorities. And also you have all of this destabilization coming from Sarajevo, from
our other good
Muslim
neighbors.
Yeah, from the Muslim Croat Federation, or the Bosnia-Herzegovina side of Bosnia-Herzegovina, as opposed to the Republika Srpska. The Serbian entity is autonomous and is, the Dayton Accords were a decent arrangement, even though not obviously what Serbia was trying to get. But the Dayton Accords, this is before the bombing of Belgrade. This was signed several years before the bombing of Belgrade, and it actually allowed for the creation of Bosnia that exists today. Anyway, was sparing everyone the history lesson. They can, I guess, look it up, themselves. The point is that with the return of Biden and these neoliberal, neoconservatives, these war hawks, these Clintonites, they come in here and they're creating a crisis. They're trying to force, Republika Srpska to join the consensus Sarajevo with sanctions on Russia. There's energy pipeline politics, and the Dodik, who's the president of Republika Srpska, capital is in Banja Luka, not to be confused with this Serbia, capital Belgrade, President Vučić, right? So with Republika Srpska, you've got several million people there. It's territorially like half the size of the whole Bosnia-Herzegovina. But it is neither Bosnia nor Herzegovina. So people are like, is that Bosnia and Herzegovina? No. It's just, it's a stupidly named thing. But anyway, that is the situation. Like they have increased the tensions. They're trying to cancel that government. They're trying to deprive it. They're trying to create a court and constitutional crisis in Sarajevo. They've been doing that for years. They mostly have failed, fortunately. As Dodik has said, look, the more that you push on this, the more that we are going to exercise our rights under the UN self-determination, as well as the provisions that are both stated and implied in the logical framework of the Dayton Accords towards self-determination of the Serbian people on the territory of Bosnia-Herzegovina. So I think that has been huge, with Trump going in there. Interestingly, Dodik said that if Trump gets elected, that they might just go ahead and complete the secession. So it was actually almost like not a threat. It's actually like that would embolden them, that they think that Trump would allow it. So we'll see what happens. Well, I don't know. I mean, Dodik can be a little bit like Lukashenko in a sense. He can like kind of say things that are a little bit larger than what he might do. He does a lot of funny stuff and trolling. I think has great comic effect, and I totally support it. Don't get me wrong. But we'll see what actually happens now. But just in terms of what's going on in this region, it does not look good for the squatters in Kosovo. It does not look good for them at all.
The squatters in Kosovo. The way I look at
look, one more thing is that when Trump was president, they authorized, the Trump administration agreed with Vučić and the Kosovo Pristina authorities against their wishes there, because we're talking about the usurpers. He forced them to agree to allow a housing development project in the Serbian municipalities, and to complete the association of Serbian municipalities, and to actually begin to repopulate it with Serbs that had left because of the ethnic cleansing campaign against. They're talking about the right of return of Serbs to Kosovo. And Trump was very much behind engendering a process where you would actually create new housing in the kind of suburban style, and some apartment high rises, like, nice new ones, luxury condos, you would say, and to repopulate, to bring the right of return of Serbians that have been ethnically cleansed in the past several decades from Kosovo back to Kosovo, which is the Serbian heartland, historically Serbian heartland, So this is so we could probably expect something, even less than that would be great, because again, you're talking about Russia over here and the United States over here, and it really moves the Overton window of what Serbian policies will be acceptable now that Trump is on the American side, I guess is the best way to conclude yet.
You were mentioning Dodik and his antics and the resemblance to Lukashenko in the stage of world politics. And I like to think of both cases, actually, where Putin and Lukashenko and Vučić and Dodik are like the double-headed eagles of the respective nations, in the sense, well, peoples, let's say peoples, not nations, in the sense that what one side of the eagle, which is facing west, can't say, the other one says.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Did you find the Dodik wearing the MAGA hat?
No, I don't have it queued, but I have seen it. I have seen it.
That would have made the whole thing.
I do have something better, though. Last talk we did, we mentioned some details about, what's his name, Trump Jr.'s reaction. Yeah. So this is a screenshot of a screenshot of a screenshot of a tweet of a screenshot. But the point is that Trump Jr. agrees that there are 660 U.S. troops in Kosovo. It's time to bring them home. So I saw this and this by Serbs for Trump, and then I tagged Serbs for Trump and Trump Jr. with an old meme, time to bring this back. Stanley signed up to protect the USA. He's his veteran Kosovo, protecting the Serbian municipality from the Serbs it belongs to. He should go home. So yeah.
Stanley wants to go home. Stanley doesn't even know why he's there. If you were to ask him, he's totally confused. He didn't go to Albright School or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's for him, it's just like, getting his Montgomery GI shit together and going to college one day. You know, I mean, so yeah,
The
Stanley
Albright
wants to go
School.
home. He doesn't want to be there. You know what I mean?
I believe you. I believe you. Stanley probably feels like a terrorist, and if he doesn't, he will soon. Also,
right. If he doesn't, he should. But yeah,
I wanted to bring this up. This is a good break, and it wanted to take me back to the topic of driver Jenga, which is what I was playing last week. Because I decided to upgrade my PC, my CPU,
well, we were working on this quite a bit. We all had our theories, and we ended up getting into driver Jenga, basically.
Removing drivers. So, like, for those who don't know, drivers, when you install them, they install on top of each other and are never removed. So when you remove them, you remove all kinds of interesting layers. It's like Jenga, basically,
like
as
Jenga,
I found out. So now I'm back to my old PC and setup, so now I can record, and I'm waiting for parts, and then we're going to get upgraded. But that is, I think, the perfect segue, if there ever has been one, to thank everybody who's bought me a coffee, thank everybody who's supported me on Patreon, and remind you that you can do that. Also, check out Hawkins' links in the description as well. Now that Driver Jenga and that PC update is out the way. That's for YouTube subscribers who are not on Telegram, who might have been wondering like what has been happening to the working brother. We get back to this, which I affectionately named the burger photo, and then this was sent in chat.
That's what's going on. I mean, so there's a clip out there of R.K. Jr. saying that, like, yo, the stuff that Trump eats, like, this guy eats like a garbage can. Like, the stuff that him and the team eats, like, on the plane, it's either KFC or Big Macs. He's like, this is just catastrophic. Like, this is not food. But the point is that this is connected to their campaign to make McDonald's great again. And I've been asking a very important question, like, what the fuck happened to supersized fries? I want supersized fries to make a comeback. Like, they have extra
I told you, Super Size Me, the movie. Super Size Me.
The
That's what
largest size
happened.
is medium, and the largest size today. Listen, this is a big fucking problem. The largest size is medium, and that size of medium is what a small was like 10 years ago. So you've got shrinkflation, you've got a lot of devious evil stuff going on. We got to make McDonald's great again, and this is about bringing back tallow beef and eliminating all this fake GMO and like whatever. They don't make, it's not real beef anymore. It's like some shit that, Jaden Smith came up with. It was like that hoax on the World Economic Forum about, recycled poop and making them into beef patties. Like, that's what this shit is right now. So, like, I would not eat McDonald's right now unless, like, I was on a road trip, which is pretty much when it happens, like when you're definitely driving for 10 hours and you definitely have to eat something.
Nope.
And it can be fun, and, like, once in a while it's the spot, but then you feel sick a little bit afterwards. And, the poops keep coming, after the McDonald's, or you wind up constipated. It's like either or, But it's never normal. It's never normal. But
haven't had McDonald's in like 10 years, man.
Well, look, no, this goes deep. This is a hugely important question, sir. Like, McDonald's is a staple of American culture.
I'm not a knight. See, you don't have to.
I'm not
knighted. You don't have to refer to me as sir.
The attack on the beef industry, the attack on real food industry came from an anti-meat perspective. So a lot of people were anti-McDonald's or anti-fast food because of the, whatever polyunsaturated fats and the artificial preservatives and things like that, but also that it was meat and potatoes. And they were like, oh, potatoes are bad, meat is bad. And they almost kind of embraced that shit was getting more and more fake. So there's been a wrong critique of McDonald's, and then there's like a correct critique of McDonald's. This is very, very important to distinguish. So we will make McDonald's great again. I promise you that.
As an economist, I have to remind you that McDonald's is what brought down the Soviet Union.
The Berlin Wall, right?
That was lesson one. Opening McDonald's in the Soviet Union is the way forward in economics. So, yes, I agree with you. You need to make Vkusno i točka, great again. Vkusno. Yeah. They need to make it tasty and good. Keeping on the comedic path, we got this from Tim Kirby. Advertisement to buy Kazakhstani MasterCards for Russians. Sanctions are working. It's like a recurring theme here on the comedy show. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, basically, there's no sanctions on Kazakhstan, and it's not hard for Russians to get stuff filed or done in Kazakhstan. Same with businesses. Like, these sanctions against Russia are not working the way that a person that didn't know what was going on would think that sanctions work. It's generally strengthened the Russian economy. It's just such a weird scenario, man. It's such a strange situation.
I want to get back into fake news and now involve Trump, because we've got him already going in people's minds. Where is my... There it is. This is another fake. Express.co.uk. Fake news alert. He could, in theory, publication headlines, he could, as if this is policy.
Right. It's like Trump could, join the next mission to Mars. Trump could, open up a huge, aquatic underground, whatever. It's like, yeah, but that's not what likely is going to be happening here. So they just totally bizarre, these people. They're fucking fantasies.
It's CI Press.
This is like the Trump could set up an 800-mile buffer zone, or could send 800 troops or whatever, could like enforce a peace agreement. Like, that's not how peace agreements work. That's just called sending soldiers to get killed in a war. If the other side doesn't agree to a peace agreement, you're not sending in peacekeepers. You're sending in future caskets is what you're sending in.
Yeah. And this fake piece. We discussed this a little bit, but I want to get back to it because we've got that General Flynn stuff to cover as well. So do you want to tie this and the Trump faking nukes? And by the way, I want to remind people, watch that last talk that we did with Drago, or I did, where we talked about how they could give them dirty nukes and put them on cruise missiles and call them nukes and call themselves Nuki, and then not be like so weak in their negotiating position by being terrorists, basically.
Battle backfire.
Yeah. Well, no, you think so? In any case, maybe that's what they want at this point. Who knows? So yeah, tie this fake news and the other fake news and the fake news we just discussed.
So you've got fakes there are fakes where you get fake sources and unnamed sources and make made up quotes, and it's just CIA doing it that way. And then you've got this Reuters fake, which is, what is it saying again in this Reuters fake? Just put the slide again. I can just refresh.
Hold on, I closed it. It's saying that Trump is giving Trump is giving the permission to Trump nukes to 404. Let me open it again.
Right. Yeah. No. Reuters saying. Yeah. There's that one.
Oh no, that's Express. Hold on.
Express UK. That one's fake, right? It's like Trump could give Ukraine nuclear weapons in shock move against Putin. It's like, yeah, Biden could have done that too this whole time, I suppose. Why would Trump do that, right? I mean, none of it makes sense. Okay. And then the other slide, the other one is with we just had it.
Yeah, but I don't have it here. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's another fake piece. There we go. Fake piece. Hold on, let me get back to OBS and here. There we go. This one.
Okay. Yeah. Fake so piece the anatomy of a Reuters fake. The publication engages in imaginary bargaining with itself. Right. So this is another theme. When they pretend, where they just basically have a sock puppet like peace negotiation, like, well, the Russian side will probably say this, and this is probably what the Russian side, it's like the Russians have not even said that they're interested in peace negotiations. They're interested in dialogue, but they are in the middle of what they call a special military operation that has certain objectives, and those objectives have to be complete. And it's not like they're threatening to start a conflict, like there's already a conflict happening. So that's already a sign that, talks failed to stop the conflict. Then you, of course, had the attempted peace after Kiev was 2/3 surrounded or 3/4 surrounded, that wound up with Boris Johnson and Biden's handlers basically kiboshing any peace. One of the chief negotiators on the Ukrainian side, who was an economist, who understood, who was probably advocating on the team to sign, but they had all tentatively agreed on it. So it wasn't just him. Maybe he threatened to blow the whistle about it was, Boris Johnson that sabotaged it. Who knows? He was murdered, right? He was murdered. So the Ukrainians murdered their own negotiator as part of destroying that peace agreement. So this,
Time out. I gotta make a joke. Was it the same Ukrainians who sabotaged the Nord Stream?
It would be the same type of thinking. It's where you take a gun and then you shoot yourself and your foot. Yes, it's the same. It's the same theory of power.
Okay, your camera. Oh, it froze just for a second. Okay, that's good. We've also got this Muppet. I forgot to bring this up last time. He denied it. Or he didn't deny it, or I will not compromise operational security and comment on the details of long-range systems today.
Right. So this is mirroring David Lammy's and Carrot Starmer's November 17th quote. This is a mirror of that, which is that it would be a gift to Putin for us to clarify our position on whether we've allowed these systems to be used. So that's because Keir Starmer can be interviewed. He's not wandering off in the bushes in Brazil. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have an excuse to not answer a question. So what he's actually saying is very similar to what the American side is doing by releasing this fake while Biden is recharging in between Aricept therapies or whatever he's taken for advanced dementia, senility. And, he's not doing very well, obviously. And he hasn't been able to confirm or deny these. And but the British version is a more open, neither confirming nor denying, and it's basically a media leak. It's totally the intelligence organizations are running this, and then you have this ambiguity from actual government, so that they have some deniable relationship with the actual process. So yeah, but we can see how it's panning out not very well for them. Basically, they're on a countdown. They've got 58 days to try to get Russia to do something which institutionally requires a NATO country from its own, pre-devised contingency response plans to act. And Russia doesn't need to do that. The conflict is very nicely and safely contained to the borders of Ukraine and former Ukraine. Then there was this attack in Kursk, an attempted attack in Bryansk. And besides these, we've limited the conflict to the territory of Ukraine and former Ukraine. So Russia most probably wants to succeed in Ukraine and keep the conflict on that territory. And I would also suggest that deep down inside, to the extent that they have it deep down inside, people like Schultz and others also have the same thinking. They're just kind of under a lot of pressure not to say that. So that's my take on it, yeah.
I've got your edited map of Washington, D.C. that you posted in fear of nuclear retaliation. Do you think I should pop it up? Do you think I should pop it up?
Yeah. I just want Russians to know where Washington, D.C. is located, just so they understand if they want to strike at a power, decision-making center of the United States, and they're not going to hit anything unless they target Washington, D.C.,
Right. Meanwhile, in Russia, we've got this going on. Mobile shelters for nuclear explosions were put into mass production for the first time in Russia. The Coup M package includes...
What is that, Armenia? No.
No, that's MJ. Right. That's MJS, the emergency services, like Russia's emergency services colors.
Got it. Okay.
So provides protection from various threats. Can fit up to 54 people. You think Russia's trying to?
What about the other 149,990? Okay, so 54 people might survive. Well, that's good.
It's a start. It's better than some countries.
It's a start. Yeah, no, I mean, it just reminds me of like in the 1950s in America, very similar to like today in Tel Aviv. Like there's like nuclear bunkers, but it's actually part of a mass psychology about believing in it, you know. But in the 50s, people were like, you know, in their kind of suburban American tract house backyards, were building like nuclear bunkers in their backyard. It's like, are you going to put in a pool? No, we're putting in a nuclear bunker. That was a thing at the time. It just reminds me of that stuff. You know, there is no getting out of this alive. People do things. It's almost more dangerous to engage in that type of stuff. The only answer is no nuclear war.
Yeah, it's the best way to win a fight is to avoid it. So, you posted this. New Resistance Telegram.
Yeah, I'm very confused. You know, I'm very confused about General Flynn. So what does he say? Like, let's deconstruct this. So his actual quote is that.
You want me to read it? You want me to read? Should I do it in a British accent? Should I do it in British accent?
Well, no, because it's why would it be? It's
to make it sound more official.
It's General Flynn.
But just to make it more official, the British accent.
Well, do you have an AI that can do that?
No, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yours sounds Cockney though. It's like the last
all right, fine.
24 hours, governor. It's like, okay, but look, the last 24 hours, Ukraine fired attackums into Russian territory, a clear escalation of war. So what? 1, Harris should immediately invoke the 25th Amendment and remove Biden. He's sleepwalking us into World War III. Let's at least put the constitutional pressure on Harris because Joe's poor memory make him unaccountable. See Special Counsel Hur report. 2, the current head House of Representatives must impeach Biden for endangering the United States. Hell, Trump was impeached for losing the 2020 election. 3, incoming U.S. officials must make contact with Putin to de-escalate the situation. See my conversation with former Russian ambassador Kislyak, different circumstance, but same outcome. De-escalation. 4, Trump administration, especially incoming AG Matt Gaetz, need to make it clear that the identities of the deep state operatives pulling the strings of the presidency, urging Biden to act recklessly. 5, pray that we make it to January 20th. The voters spoke. Trump's mandate to end the killing and seek peace needs to be America's path. So look. So 3, 4, and 5 are perfectly sound approaches. 1, 2, and 3 are contraposed to those. 1, 2, and 3 would have Harris right now be the fucking president. And my question is like, why do you think she would leave if she were president right now?
What are you smoking?
Like, what are you smoking? Like what? Like, see, in basic, the logic of contingency planning is that you want to reduce the number of potential known unknowns and unknown unknowns because you're trying to eliminate the possibility for uncontingency or impossible to make contingency around X factors or even foreseeable crises. So like, that's not how you don't solve a problem where the universe of potential things that could go wrong is already defined and limited, and you don't introduce a solution that introduces a whole new array of like multiplied potentials of things going wrong. Like the main thing that you want to avoid is Harris being the president. And that's why we had this whole campaign and we got Trump elected. So then after all of fucking that, you're going to put in Harris? Like right now, we only got 60 days, 58, 57 days left. And you know, it's like, how long do those processes take? I mean, to invoke the 25th and put Harris in power. And why would she de-escalate? She's part of team escalation. Like, wouldn't she act like, here's one thing that could happen if she was president for 50 days, fucking General Flynn, sir, is that she could refuse to step down after declaring war on Russia and a state of emergency, you know, under continuity of constitutional government, you know, right? I mean, the whole thing is just so fucking.
That's the first thing that came to mind when I saw this post. Like, I don't know who General Flynn is. I've come across some of his statements or like musings before.
Lieutenant General Flynn, first of all, but we can.
So he's a lieutenant general that's obviously retired that calls himself general.
Yeah, he's a retired lieutenant general that lets people call him general.
Okay, let's just leave that at this, and we'll move on from lieutenant certified general.
Yeah, certified general. No, I mean, the thing is, yeah, people, like I said, someone should make a meme of Flynn in a Harris Waltz shirt, because at this point, like, that's what we're seeing. It's totally, I can't explain it. It's like one of those Tucker Carlson things, you know what I mean? I have no idea what's going on, right? So anyway.
It's weird. Like, when I first saw it, my first thought was like, okay, she gets in and she does what? Like, launch anything against Russia or approve anything that the CIA wants? Like,
the point is that anything that's going to happen is based upon Russia's situational awareness. It's based upon Russia's strategic contingency plan, upon Russia keeping a cool head. These guys are announcing that World War III is starting or something. As you can see, we did the work. We're the ones that said, no, look, this is a fake story in the New York Times. Probably wasn't even the Biden administration at all. This gets into, but see, he mentions that, I think, in point 5 there. That is correct. Like, obviously, Biden's handlers are making this happen. Here's the question, though. Why would that not apply to Harris? Like, the point is we need them to go. So do you want a senile guy that maybe have even, like, said a few things at the end of that? Like, there are people saying confirmed that Biden voted for Trump. You know what I mean? There are people saying, like, Jill Biden left the voting booth wearing a red dress. Like, that is a huge thing. And it's not because they're decent people, but there's probably some, you know, deals being made about Hunter, about pardons, probably also about the way that Joe Biden was cooed out of office. Like, he was not happy. They were not happy about that. So, when this is what was huge, I believe that Joe Rogan was trying to sabotage Trump, and they had that comedian speak at the Madison Square Garden and tell the unfunny joke about Puerto Rico being a huge island, a trash island or whatever. And that alone could have been used as a pretext to say that Trump lost Pennsylvania because of the large Puerto Rican population in Pennsylvania. And you could have there's a lot of narratives they could have gone with it, but Pennsylvania was key to winning that election, and they were setting up a narrative that could have had voters push back against Trump because of this shit that was said at Madison Square Gardens from this unfunny guy. He's not even funny as a comedian, because jokes are funny, they make you laugh. That's how you tell that it's funny. And I know it doesn't have to be explained. So what happens, though, is that Biden saves the day. Like, he says all of Trump's voters are trash, based in response, which is like exactly what you needed to distract from actually this insult on Puerto Ricans and add fuel and fire to the Trump side. So Biden basically came and saved the day. Like, this is coordinated messaging, like, to the last detail. Like, there's very little chance that this was all just random. As they say in politics, nothing is random. So nothing is chance, and most things are preconceived and gamed out. And for Biden to have said this, probably because Jill Biden said this is an important thing you have to say, because she's like the primary handler. She's the one signing his executive orders and stuff like that. That's proven from handwriting analysis. I mean, a 5-year-old could see the difference and confirm what I'm saying. So it's just like, it's very strange to, like, here we are so close to the end of this nightmare and the transition. It's like you're watching a horror movie, and like everyone finally gets inside the house, like the monster, the demon is outside the house, and then some fuckwad is like, hey, let's go in the backyard and see what's going on. It's like, no, do not go outside the house. You are very close to sunrise. Just wait for the sun to come out. Stay the fuck put. Don't separate. Don't split up. Don't go in the backyard. Stay in the fucking house. Stay in the fucking house. So this is like what's going on right now with this 58 days until the transfer of power. And to have Flynn or Tucker Carlson very bizarrely with coordinated messaging, like insinuate and actually call for Harris to be president and for Trump to be, for Biden to be impeached and for Harris to be inserted is like very, very questionably fucking strange to me. I'm gonna reserve myself at that.
I agree. Considering that we're talking about the blue spectrum, I decided that we should also bring up some people on the spectrum that are blue. A blue sky, safety. In the past 24 hours, more than 42.
The fact that they have a safety account.
Hold on. It gets better. It gets better. They had 42,000 reports of an all-time high for one day of people complaining, Karening, and I just noticed, actually somebody else, but we won't say who, noticed that if you register on BS and you type something, you're officially contributing to the BS out there. Which goes back to your thesis that this might be a purposefully designed platform for, sussing out all these.
Yeah, it's a social experiment, intentionally or not. It's like, what happens if you build an app entirely populated by Karens? They all report
by
each
BS.
other and think it's close. It's like,
and call it BS. And you call it BS.
It's like a canceling wave patterns and shit. It's like.
Okay. I've been waiting for a long time for that. Now we've got some real news. From Japan. Hold on. Let me see if... No. First we've got this. For those who don't know, Army identifies 5 special operations soldiers killed in Black Hawk crash. Yeah, in the Mediterranean Sea. So the National Meme Coordination Body...
With the Errol Flynn mustache thing, or are those two different?
No, I think they're two different guys.
Okay.
In any case, Serbian National Meme Coordination Body put this out just to clear up for people where the Mediterranean Sea is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was funny.
Very similar to. Well, that's very appropriate because during Mariupol. You had a lot of, lieutenants and, we're not talking like 4-star generals or whatever, but you had a lot of people like 2-star generals, French military, American, maybe British, etc., there in Mariupol. And there was like a number of reports like, oh, this guy died of a heart attack and this guy's whatever, MIA. And it's like, heart attack, Mariupol, heart attack, So it's very similar. It's that's what goes on. Well, you've seen these bodies and the people from Bryansk, or rather from Kursk, like in the invasions of both. But I mean, I think it was just more of a spotter group or a small group, like a DRG that went into Bryansk. But just like 50% of the bodies of the invaders of Kursk were non-Ukrainians. They were like Poles, but more interestingly, Americans, Australians, Brits, and so forth. So.
Yeah. In case you guys haven't figured it out, this channel is not eligible for monetization. So, check out the links. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Are you saying that I'm not going to get my fee for this show? Like, because your producer Ann told my people that we,
I don't have a producer, and you might have people, but I definitely don't have a producer. This needs to be reframed, so you guys...
this was a great one. You were just... when you put this out, I think I laughed for 2 days in a row.
I want to play this for everyone because it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm gonna actually put this full screen, then, or wait, no, like this maybe. There we go, and then do TV only, and then do this.
アメリカというのはイスラエル最大の支援国になります。年間38億ドル、日本円にして5800億円の軍事支援を毎年行っているというわけですね。
どうしてアメリカはイスラエルを応援してるんですか？
アメリカでは銀行や大企業のトップなどにユダヤ人が多く、無視できない存在だから。そもそもアメリカにはたくさんのユダヤ人が住んでいるんです。
どうしてアメリカ
だから本当に長者番付でね、マーク・ザッカーバーグ、フェイスブック、今のメタですよね。それからラリー・ペイジ、これグーグルですよね。
だから富豪ランキングトップ10のうち6人はユダヤ系ということになるわけですよね。
アメリカには政治や経済の分野で活躍するユダヤ系がかなり多いんです。さらに大きな影響力を持つ団体も。
例えばユダヤ系のロビー団体というのがあって、ロビー団体って要するに議会のロビーでいろんなことを交渉するというような意味なんですけど、特に政治の世界に大きな影響力を持っているという団体があるんですね。これ見てください。アメリカとイスラエルの国旗ができているという、とにかくアメリカを大きく動かすんだ。これ国務長官ですよね。国務長官も自分はユダヤ系だって。
The most brilliant news segment I've ever seen. I don't know what gets me more. Is it their action and their intonations and their like vocalizations, or the graphics, or like the sound effects in the background? But that was brilliant. That was just brilliant.
No, because it's Japanese. It's what is it called? Kawaii, like their cult of cuteness. And like little cartoon characters and shit. Like I went to school with Japanese Americans, but they were like in America before the changes in Japan, like when everything went cute, you know. So they had been multi-generationally in America, and their relationship with kawaii is like totally different. They're like, that's not us. Like, we don't know what this is. Like, Japan used to be like a serious country, and now everything is like, even those rabbis or the Jews were like little cartoon Jews. It was totally the funniest thing. Yeah, no, it's, I know it looked like one giant like ramen noodle commercial or something.
Basically,
it looked like a joke. It looked like it should have been in Zoolander or something. It was like really, really bizarre. It was
could
great.
not believe it when I came across it.
I
Also,
just couldn't stop laughing. I thank you for that. True comedy gold.
We've got one more meme from the Siberian Matryoshka. What did you want? Why do Zhirinovsky's predictions end in 2024? Yeah, that, and we've got this one. To anybody I offended in 2024, work on yourself. I gotta go, so I don't gotta do it again in 2025. All right, I think we've covered more or less everything that there is to cover today. Xoaquin, anything you'd like to say?
Have a great rest of the day, folks, and don't forget to buy him a coffee. Put the thing up again. Buy him a coffee. Yeah, buy him like 10
buy me a coffee.
Yeah. You don't have to just buy one a day. You can buy multiple coffees every day, and he'll drink them.
And
you'll make a video drinking the coffees. The more you do it.
This is a coffee that somebody bought me in real life. Like, truth.
So make this happen more often. Like, you know, feed the kitty and make him happy.
All right. Yeah, check out Xoaquin's links in the description as well. And thank you for sticking around to the end. And even if you don't have anything to give, you can always share, like, and all that other good thing. Leave a comment. I respond most of the time. That'll be that. Everyone, thank you. See you later. Peace out.